Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we are going to be looking at a relatively new product. Essentially, I bought this when it came out, but because of shipping delays and the postal strikes and everything, it took around 2 months to get to my door, as is the case with a lot of products I'm going to be reviewing in the next few weeks. That is kind of an issue, but nonetheless, we are going to be looking at Loki by Dadswell and ALAKAZAM Magic, a very interesting product that is good in some aspects and that I feel lacks in some other ones, but that is my opinion and I'm going to dissolve that and explain that after the intro. So let's roll it and get straight into the review. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Loki. So what is Loki? Loki is essentially an effect where a spectator's ring is going to get locked onto a lock, and then they will be able, against a few odds, be able to open the lock using only their intuition. The best way for me to actually showcase this to you is with a small performance. Now, I don't have a ring nor a spectator, but I still think that I could give you a small idea of how this would work, even though we don't have those conditions present. So essentially, you would go to a table with the lock open like this, you would introduce your patter, and you ask someone for the ring. They will then take the ring and plop it into the lock. You then proceed to ask them to take it and to lock the ring onto the lock. You ask them afterwards, so how would you guess you would get your ring out? 9 out of 10 people are going to say, well, with the keys. And you say, you're very perceptive. Are you some kind of investigator, or do you really like challenging puzzles? Because that's a great observation. Yeah, it is with the key that you're actually going to get your ring off. So you place this to the side and you take from your pocket a ring of keys and you say, so these are some of the keys that I have with me. And what I want you to do right now is to take these keys, go behind your back and mix them up. Now I'm going to do this behind my back, and I want you to trust that I'm not doing anything that is attempting to make the effect look better or anything. I'm just trying my best to do it as if I was a layman. So we do that, and then I would tell them to take one key and bring it out in their dominant hand. They would proceed to do that, and they would remove this key. So in this case, I would be holding this, and I'd say, perfect. So just pluck it on to the keychain. We're going to do it again, okay? So we'll do it again, and this time, we're going to do the same thing. You're going to take out one of the keys, and keep in mind, this is the most important decision of the entire effect. The decision that you make now is going to change the outcome of everything. Bring out one of the keys. They're going to bring out a key, and in this case, they'll bring out this. And same as before, they're going to place it onto the key ring, and the key ring gets locked. And you tell them, now you're left with one key behind your back. You agree you've made fully free decisions to take out a key every single time, and you've left one unbeknownst to me or you, which one it is. Can you take it out? They're going to take it out. You say, what I want you to do is I want you to try and open up the lock. They're going to go in and they're going to open up the lock. So let's do it like this. Boom, the lock would open and they would retrieve their ring. So then you tell them, excellent. So you've managed to open the lock using your intuition. But I know what you may be thinking. You may be thinking, well, the other keys open the lock as well. It's not that impressive. But actually, it is kind of impressive because you've managed to open the lock with the only possible key. Any other decision wouldn't have worked because the other keys that we have here are not even cut. So not only will they not open this lock, but they're not going to open a single lock in any lock all around the world because they are uncut. You've managed to find the only cut key among 3 without even noticing by using your intuition. I think that's pretty impressive to me. So that would be one of the performances for Loki. Again, I don't have a spectator, I don't have a ring with me, and because of that, it may not seem as interesting as it would if it was, with actual spectators and the ring and the stakes and the full presentation, but you still get an idea of what you're able to achieve with this effect. So now that we know what Loki is, let's talk about where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can buy this directly from ALAKAZAM Magic. It is exclusively only available there. If ever you want, I do have the free discount links down below. And then it will set you back £45, which is around 65, close to 70 Canadian dollars. I think at the moment I bought it was 72, and I think now it's close to 69, 70. So around that ballpark. And what you get with your purchase is quite a few things. First, you're going to get this beautiful hard shell box. This is very Penguin Magic-esque in packaging. Inside, you're going to get a link to the tutorial. The tutorial is great. It's around an hour long. It has live performances and it has studio performances. And it's with Adam Dadswell and Peter Nardi. And they go over every single permutation that could go over in the effect, every single thing that can happen, how to deal with it, how to work it, how to script it, how to present it, how to fix, for example, the keychain if it becomes unscrewed, how to do a bunch of other things. So it covers everything that you need. As all ALAKAZAM videos, it is incredibly good. Then you're also going to get a keyring such as this one, which is pre-printed with something in order to do the routine in English. You're also going to get 3 keys. You're going to get 2 uncut keys, which are completely ungimmicked. You can even provide your own if you want to do a different presentation, because I know nowadays for very cheap, you can get uncut keys with like drawings on them, messages on them, colors on them. So if ever you want to have other keys with whatever different thing on it, you could do that if you want, but you're going to get 2 uncut keys. You're going to get the key to open the lock. You're also going to get here 2 other spare keys to open the lock. So if ever you lose a key, you still have 2 spares, which is very, very nice. You're also going to get an extra lock over here. I'll show this to you. Not a lock, I mean an extra keychain. If you want, you can use this. If you want to do it in another language that is not English, you can use this. If not, this is a brilliant thing. If you own Hide-A-Key, you can just take this, use it on your Hide-A-Key. It works perfectly well. So you get a free keychain for your Hide-A-Key. But if ever you want to perform this in French and German and whatever language, you can customize this to be able to do it in that language if need be. And then the last thing that you're going to get with your purchase, so get 2 keychains, 2 uncut keys, 3 cut keys that open the lock. And of course you get the lock. The lock is very sturdy. It is very heavy. It is very like heavy duty. It's a very sturdy and a good lock. So this is everything that you get with your purchase of Loki by Adam Dadswell. So now that you know everything that you get, where to buy it, and kind of an idea of the effect, let's talk difficulty. How difficult is Loki to perform? Well, in essence, it is easy. Even a beginner could do this effect. It is super easy. The method is basically self-working and it works itself. The only thing that you have to do is play around with certain things that may or may not happen during the routine. For some of you, you understand what I mean. For some others, maybe not. But if you do understand what I mean, you kind of get the idea. You'll have to play with some language during the routine when needs be. So overall, there's no moves, no switches, no ditches, nothing like that in the routine. There's no palm-to-palm transfers, nothing. It is self-working. The keys, everything that you see, you don't bring anything in, ring anything out, nothing like that. It is to the point and very direct. No sleight of hand, super easy to do. You just have to play around with your language in certain instances. So easy to do, beginner level. Let's talk now about carrying capacity. So if you want to perform this effect, what do you have to carry around? This is the first section of our practicality as always. Well, you're going to have to carry around this. You're going to have to carry around this very hefty and heavy lock, and you'll have to carry around your keys. Now, the lock is very hefty, so that means if you want to put it in your pocket with the keys, it does get pretty bulky and pretty heavy in your pockets, which is something to consider. So the lock is pretty big, but you're not stuck with this lock. You can use any lock with a key that you want. So you can go to your local dollar store and buy a small lock. Yes, for presentational purposes, this does look much better, bigger, standards, more visual rather than a small teeny tiny lock. But even then, if this is too heavy to carry around with you, you can just go ahead and buy your own lock, because this is not gimmicked whatsoever. The key, as I said, is not gimmicked. So you can easily just go buy a lock that's less heavy and perform it, walk around if you want and carry it in your pocket. It would be much easier to carry around the smaller lock with the keys rather than this behemoth that weighs quite a ton in your pocket. So for carrying capacity, you need a lock, your 3 keys, and the keychain. Let's talk now about inspectability. Everything is inspectable. Nothing really is gimmicked. The lock is ungimmicked. The keys are ungimmicked. And yeah, there's not much that a spectator should want or need to inspect. Everything is pretty clean, and if they want to inspect it, they can. There's nothing really to be seen. It's pretty simple to for in that regard. They can inspect to their heart's content. In terms of reset, once you're done the routine and you close the lock, you're reset. All you have to do is go to a table, have the lock opened, and start your routine. Nothing else in terms of reset. It is instant reset. Basically, if you consider opening the lock again before going to a table a reset, well, the reset is a second. In terms of a table, you do not need a table whatsoever. And angles, the angles are 360 because you do nothing. So the spectator does everything. The angles are pretty much 360. There's no angle considerations for this effect. Let's now jump into where to perform. So where would you perform Loki? As long as you have a spectator, Loki can be performed. So that means if you're performing this close-up, casual, table hopping, restaurant, cocktail, on a stage, parlor, or cabaret, you can perform this effect if you want, except I wouldn't perform this on virtually, so like, on Zoom, or if you still do online shows, I wouldn't do it like that. But overall, it can be performed in any scenario as long as you want to do it in that type of scenario and it fits what you're attempting to do. Now that we've covered all of those bases, let's go into the positives and negatives. First of all, let's get into the negatives. One of the negatives of the effect is that if you don't want to go out of your way to spend any money, the lock that they do give you is a bit hefty. So it is to carry it around. It is a bit, heavy to have in your pocket. It does weigh down your pocket quite a lot, and it is pretty bulky too. So if you don't want to go out of your way to buy another lock, this one is a bit heavy, but as I said, you can easily circumvent the issue by buying your own lock. But that is something that I did want to, to point out to you in case that is of interest. Second of all, this is more that something that I've noticed from the performances on the video and from the trailers and also from my own experience, is the effect doesn't get really good reactions. It gets good reactions. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't get bad reactions, but it doesn't get great or wow or wonderful reactions either. People are usually at the end, oh, that was cool. Like no one goes like, how did he do that? Or no way or anything like that. I've noticed it just gets like, oh, that's interesting. Wow. Type of reactions. And I don't know if it's my fault for presenting that way, or maybe it's my perception of the reactions of the spectator that I've performed this to, or my perception, because I have that already made perception when I rewatched the performances in the tutorial and on the trailer, I was like, oh, the spectators kind of feel the same as well. I don't know if it's my misconception of it, but the reactions are not the most insane, let's say, for this effect. They're fine, but maybe I'll rework the pattern, I'll rework what I say, make it more impossible. I'll try maybe and change some of the language and see about that in the future. I'll maybe put a comment down below after I go to a few gigs, and I'll tell you guys how it went and if I perform this and if I'm keeping it in my repertoire because of the reactions. But that's something that I've just noticed, so I am pointing it out. In terms of positive, it's extremely well produced. You get everything that you need. The tutorial is great. The material is great. You get spare keys. The lock is sturdy. Everything is high quality. Great. You get 2 also keychains. You get everything. Once you buy this, you don't have to go buy a single thing. It's angle proof. It's inspectable. It's practical. In some cases, if you get a smaller lock. And it's super, super easy to do and can be performed in a multitude of different places. Now that we've covered everything about Loki that I have to say, would I recommend Loki and what do I give it out of 10? Would I recommend Loki? I think that if you like the trailer and you like what you heard and you like the premise of the trick, you will not be disappointed. It is, and it does, exactly what it's supposed to do. So in that case, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Method-wise, maybe it is possible that you would if you don't know what the method is, but I kind of already had an idea. If you don't know what the method is, then maybe you'll be a bit like, oh, okay. Because that was kind of, a bit of my initial reaction. Even though I had an idea, it wasn't exactly what I thought. So because of that, I was like, oh, okay. And so am I going to perform it? Yes. If I keep getting like that was very cool reactions, then maybe I'm not going to keep performing it. So because of that, I can't give it an 8 or above, nor can I give it really under a 7 because it's not a bad product. It is very good and very well produced. So because of that, I'm giving it a 7.5 on 10, and I'm giving it my recommendation if you already kind of have a hint of the method and you kind of like what you see, then I do recommend it. If not, if you're on the fence or you've been on the fence or are not sure, you can debate yourself if this is for you or not. But overall, 7.5. It is something that I'm going to still try out, and it depends on the reactions if I'm going to keep doing it or not. So that's all I have to say. I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any additional questions, leave them down below. It's going to be my pleasure to answer them. If not, I'll see you all in my next review. Have a great one, and bye-bye.